View host, Joy Behar, said she'd be very picky on who can save her life. I don't know how you do that while you're choking to death. You decide who's going to save your life. But our first one here is from the Babylon Bee, and this is obviously playing off of the little face push yesterday. Macron explaining that he fell down the stairs again. There you go.
I just can't believe the goal of politicians to try and pretend that was just like messing around or something. There is no.
Well, first they denied it.
There's no deception that they won't attempt.
First denial, and then after denial comes what's that word? Misleading or misinformation, right?
Yeah.
Why not be honest and say I was being rude to her and she's like had enough? There you go. So you know what? Every marriage has.
People are now trying to talk. People are now trying to say that the flight attendant has got like a ripped shirt or something, but I think it's just like a cravat or some sort of like scarf. People have like invented a whole story now, but that shouldn't. You know, it's one of the many reasons why you shouldn't just lie about things like this when people are interested. Better off just telling the truth, aren't you?
Yeah, it seems the truth, there's somebody said that once, the truth shall set you free. There you go. And in this section here, we also put in the new NDP leader there for Jagmeet Singh. We're going to play a little clip from Davis here.
Finally, I just want to say that as I embark on this privilege of leading the New Democratic Party at this important time in history, I'm keeping our late leader, Jack Layton, firmly in my mind. And he's someone that I'm going to use as a model as I move forward for whatever period of time I have as leader of this party. And I remember Jack saying that there were two very important things to remember. One is that it's every parliamentarian's first job to make Parliament work for Canadians. And second, he said that a good opposition doesn't just oppose, it proposes. And I'm going to keep those admonitions and those ideals and values firmly in my mind as we move forward.
Jagmeet Singh just got dissed there.
Well, the last time the party was respected, basically, isn't it? I think that maybe that's a bit of a simplistic way of looking at it, but I'd say generally speaking, that's true, isn't it? So they need to go back to anyway. Singh was like a distraction, wasn't he? And he was like a dead end of identity politics and that kind of thing. That hasn't worked for them. So they need to go back to the last thing that did work.
King Arthur would not be proud of this. King Arthur in his round table had everybody sit at the table as equals. And we look at this here. You know, when you do an interview in the office there, you're supposed to give the person on the other side of the desk a very short chair with the legs cut off. But
Carney's body language there as well. He looks like a student in detention, doesn't he? While Charlie looks on.
Again, if you know the story of King Arthur and the round table, the story is everybody sits at the table with equals. There you go. Of folklore.
Yeah, no room for that. But Carney doesn't believe in round tables either, does he? So it makes sense that he would be down there like that. But also, he's on a platform, isn't he? So he's ahead of it. He's above everyone else. He's just below the king.
There you go. Yeah. So the pecking order's there, other than the guy standing at the back there.
He's a mere servant. Forget about him.
This one you're gonna love. There you go. Congratulations on the CBC being the first network with more employees than viewers.
I would say that there are many occasions where that's true, where they're broadcasting something and that is absolutely true. I mean, they pumped out a lot of videos at one point. This is years ago now. And I remember it was a series of videos for kids, I think. And I went and had a look, and they had like dozens of views. It was sort of like 50, 60, 70. For the CBC, that is just completely unacceptable, isn't it? For an organization that expensive with that many resources. I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, again, like we talk about Angus Reid, the Angus Reid poll there, which said like 83% of Canadians don't care at all about the King's visit or the monarchy in general anyway. I'd say there'd be something similar for the CBC. Like, who in this country actually really cares about the CBC? Not very many people, I would say.
Well, we do know, those 50 people that wrote us letters do, obviously. They don't care about the rest of the media landscape in Canada, but they do care about that. And this one is for you. Britain no longer a rich country after living standards plunge, and you know this quite well. It says now that some parts of the UK are worse than regions of Slovenia and Lithuania. This is a sad testament. King Arthur, again, would be very, very sad to learn that all that he did to build up Camelot has been lost.
Well, the story here for us, from a Canadian perspective, is that bad leadership, bad political leadership, isn't just kind of like something to laugh about or, you know, to be like angry about for 5 minutes and then move on to the other thing and just say, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just politics. It actually has like real consequences, and it can result in this. Because Britain is like just about the only country that I can think of on this planet that has a stupider, less competent elite than Canada. It's the only one. I mean, maybe Germany, but the Germans still know how to do the basics, I would say, whereas the British don't even know how to do that. They're just completely hopeless and useless, and they're trapped in a stupid media bubble where they just like regurgitate these inane points that don't matter to the population, and they do things like ideologically motivated things like net zero, and then they just go all in, and they literally blow up power stations so that they can never be used, not even in an emergency. And then they just like get the wind turbines out as you know, industrial energy prices go ever higher, most expensive in the whole world. The country is just it's run by fools, and as a consequence, now the British people have to suffer and be poor. And the moral of the story is, if you let fools run your country, you will end up poor. In the best case scenario, poverty is what will happen. In the worst case scenario, you know, it could be a lot worse than that, let's say.
And that ties back to that opinion piece I wrote that's on Kelowna Now and on my LinkedIn. Canada should be the Qatar of the West, but we're pricing ourselves out of prosperity. And it's not that we're poor in energy, we're poor in policy, and that's what Iain just said. It's the policies that have actually led to the demise of the UK and is leading Canada down the same path.
Yeah, and a lot of it is cowardice as well. It's not just like they're dribbling out of their mouth because they're so stupid that they don't even. It's not necessarily that. Often they're actually quite intelligent people in the elite. It's just that they're cowards. They're completely spineless and unambitious, and they don't have any creativity or imagination. So they see a massive problem, like, oh Christ, we haven't built enough infrastructure for the last 2 decades. Like, maybe we should do that. And then somebody will come out and say, oh, but this person, this group, and this group, and this group, and this group, they all hate that, and it's going to be actually quite difficult. And then the people in power say, oh, well, forget about it then. We'll just not do it. And that's, you know, the words coming out of Mark Carney and the Liberals might suggest that they're aware of that, and they are going to build, they are going to do things, but remains to be seen if that's just talk.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it, I think a little bit yesterday, but offline as well, that, you know, the NDP in BC and the Liberals inherited like the fatted calf and then thought they didn't need to concentrate on the economy. And while they worked on other ideas and to the detriment of our economy, and we're going to say this over and over again, this auto sector that they're trying to protect in Ontario will end if they keep up with this EV mandate. I don't know how long we should do a thing on there. How many days this EV mandate lasts before they recognize where all the automakers leave and all they have left is a mandate and nobody building cars in Canada.
That would be emblematic, really, wouldn't it, of the last couple of decades of governance.
When I was in Edmonton, I remember the Gainers plant there. It was Peter Pocklington. I think he was the most hated man in Alberta. He owned the Oilers at the time when he traded Wayne Gretzky. We also owned the Gainers plant, and they went on strike, and it was a very, very confrontational, the union and the management there. And they went on strike, and the strike went on forever. And they tore down the plant. They actually leveled the plant. He left Edmonton and went to Winnipeg. They gave him some incentives to open the plant in Winnipeg, meatpacking plant. And the people were still sitting out there Months after that, in a leveled parking lot with a fire barrel in the cold, picketing. That's going to be Canada with the EV sector. They're going to be screaming about protecting an EV sector that is left. I mean, an auto sector that leaves because of the EV mandate. I don't know what it's going to take to get it through their heads. Like, I don't know how, they're just saying, it's same as Bill C-18. It's the science is in. Like, it's failed. The science is in on the EV mandate in Canada. It's failed. Anyway.
I often wonder in that, you know, what you just said there about sort of picketing at a company that's already gone for various reasons. I wonder what Jagmeet Singh would have done if he got his wish with a lot of what, you know, a lot of his talk about billionaires and all the corporations and all the rest of it. If he'd actually had the ability to decide what to do in those situations, and then lots of those companies just left, which they would do, and lots of the billionaires would just leave and pay taxes somewhere else. I wonder what he would have done then, because I feel like after all that's done and the dust is sort of settled, that all they have left is kind of their sense of morality, really. So they would just condemn them, because that's what you see, isn't it, in like countries that are much further gone, like Venezuela. All they really do is they just condemn them. They just say, oh, these like blood-sucking capitalist swine and all the rest of it, and they use these stupid terms, don't they? But then that's all you're left with while your population starves. No. It's very
you have a villain that you can identify.
It's been repeated many times, and it's very sad.
Well, we watched that union president talk about how they need to start seizing the assets of corporations. Like that right there has got to be like such an incentive for a large corporation to invest in Canada. Just the threat of seizing their assets.
So what would they do? Would they seize the assets of let's just say Honda for a laugh? Would they seize Honda's assets, and then Honda says, all right, screw this, like we're gone now, we're not going to build cars anymore, like we're just going to abandon this? And then would they sort of picket the assembly lines, which they don't know how to operate because the people have left?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't be able to use the brand.
So pitiable.
They wouldn't be able to use the brand either. It's like, what are you going to start making there? Because like Honda would sue you if you started making Hondas, right? Like what? Like
they'd go there and they'd protest about how expensive second-hand Hondas are now. They'd be like, you demons.
Here's a prime example of when your logic is muddied with your own stupidity. And this is Joy Behar. If you want to laugh all the time, you can go watch The View. But here's a clip from Joy Behar saying if she was dying, like choking to death, she would be selective on who gets to save her life.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even let him give me a Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
That's how little I feel about people. I don't know.
Well, and a MAGA supporter is like
calling you right now.
I got it.
Somebody's.
I fixed it.
Tell that MAGA man, leave you alone.
I'm not sleeping with you anymore.
There you go. So if you're dying...
What did she say there? I'm not sleeping with you anymore. Like, who is that woman? Has she
no
had
idea.
a relationship with Donald Trump or something?
No. The View is very anti-MAGA, and you know they just like spew nonsense all the time, and they typically read legal notes all the time too when they walk back their unsubstantiated claims against people. It's just like, and they say it. But you got to watch this. What's her name? Sunny there. She reads these legal notes all the time. She reads them back with the pissiest face ever.
I'm very interested in what's going on with Whoopi Goldberg. There's an episode of The Next Generation, I don't know if you can remember it, where they de-evolve and they sort of they regress into like previous life forms in the history of their species. Like, is that what's happening to Whoopi Goldberg? Is she just living out that Next Generation episode? She's just so weird looking these days.
They pass the show off as kind of news, and I think Disney's almost had enough. They're telling them that they need to dial back the rhetoric, but they're definitely not. They have a base that people love this stuff, right? I mean, they just play to that base of people, and you know. But I mean, if you're going to start being selective on who saves your life, like I don't know, like I mean, I think you've self-selected your own extinction.
I think it might just be a gaffe, almost like she's got her lines crossed, because it sounds like it's her. What she meant to say was something along the lines of the classic line, "I wouldn't pee on you if you were on fire," sort of thing. She wants to say something like that, doesn't she? But in the end, just says, "Oh yeah, I would die." It's like, okay, you showed him.
So what's the result there, Joy? If somebody saves your life, and you find out that it was a MAGA person, do you then terminate yourself just so that you can get back to where you were supposed to be?